Good day, everyone. Hope that you are all doing amazingly well. It is a beautiful day. As you can see, I'm by myself, and that is deliberate. There was another guest, but because of some of the news that's come out, I wanted to take a moment and take a check, basically a temperature check on you right now and what is happening out there. I have some announcements about Pi and some stuff to go through on that. But yeah, let's just get started. My name is Ben Klein. I am the Chief Recipes Officer at Pi, Proposal Industry Experts. We are a safe and inclusive community online for proposal professionals, proposal response professionals. In fact, I take a comment about that safe though. The world's a little bit of a scary place right now. And when I say the world, I do mean the States. I'm a Canadian, so I look on to my southerly neighbor with a little bit of concern all the time. Because generally where the States goes, Canada will follow, usually 5 to 10 years afterwards. Like we tend to pick up on on the state's political leanings just a little bit afterwards. I mean, there are some things that we hold strong on. There are other things that we just kind of go along with. Anyways, and so yesterday, if you didn't know, the Supreme Court upheld a Tennessee ban around affirming care for transgendered individuals. And we've talked about transgendered individuals on the show before. We've talked about it within our community. And realistically, like again, it boggles my mind that there is a need to demonize or hurt or otherwise like affect a community that is less than 1% of the population. It is such a non-figure, a non-amount, but it's out of the playbook of authoritarianism, right? Like you locate an other, a group that people might not feel entirely comfortable with, and you ostracize them. You make them less. You make them either an enemy if you can, or you make them a lesser if you can, like beneath the notice. And then after you've done that, um, what you do after that is that you use the tools of government to affect those people, and then you can generally grow that group to other people that might get in your way or influence you. And I think it's no doubt listening to like I'm a bit of a court geek. I do like reading the Supreme Court concurrences, and what came out of those concurrences uh, was really horrible. Was really, but was also projecting. It was indicating that while the decision is what we call narrow, i.e., sort of narrowish in scope, that it left an opening for further possible involvement. And in this month, Pride, like it's a little bit scary that something like marriage equality could come under attack again. Um, I'm a big believer in the idea that if two people care about each other enough to get involved with each other, then really there's nothing that government should do to kind of get in the way of that. Outside of certain extreme circumstances of like uh, of dominance or coercion or something like that. But yeah, like ultimately, what happens between two people ultimately is something for them to decide. And I think that two people who love each other should get all the benefits that come from being in a committed relationship with each other. Um, and I can only worry for the LGBTQIA plus community right now because I can see a pathway from the decision that happened yesterday to something a lot longer and a lot more dangerous occurring down the road. Yeah, and that bothers me. That bothers me. Uh, it bothers me that like right now, kind of the U.S. I think needs to take a stand. I think I think the No Kings protest that y'all had last weekend was an amazing start. I think you need to tell politicians that you're behind them. I think you need to tell them, like even just showing up in numbers like that tells them that there is a contingent that will vote for them, that will make them feel comfortable, that will back their play. I do realize that like your Democrats and your Republicans are being a little bit spineless right now, and I apologize if that like that's just my take. There are, of course, standout individuals. There are people who are doing amazing work even now, shouting. But yeah, like for the face of certain Republicans that said that they would do one thing 8 years ago and now have completely reversed their course. And then just kind of the failing of the Democrats to kind of like come up with a cohesive defense to what is occurring in the states right now blows my mind. And it reminds me, of course, I'm sure, like as proposal people, we read a lot. So I'm sure all of you are familiar with like some variation of the tale that like first they came for this person, and then they came for this person, and I said nothing. I said nothing, and then when they came for me, there was no one else to speak for me. And I think that's kind of what's occurring right now, and it makes me nervous. It makes me nervous. I'm going to reveal something on screen. So a lot of people know it. I'm not super shy about it, but I myself, like I'm in a poly relationship. I'm not really LGBTQIA plus or anything like that, but like our family has like three individuals, like three adults that co-parent two children, right? We all live together. We all have relations together and stuff like that. We all do things together, and I'm not like I'm not asking for polygamy. Like I don't want that. Like we have one marriage between us and stuff like that, and then we have like asset agreements and other contracts and everything like that. I don't need more than that. Like I'm not looking for uh to go beyond that. But I do worry that that my type of lifestyle could be vilified in the next 10, 15, 20 years, right? Like that right now, like we made a decision because of the lifestyle we lead to be very honest with our kids about it. And to tell them uh, that what we do is all around based around love and is around supporting them more, and it is great, honestly. Like having three adults means that you almost always have a babysitter that is effectively a parent right, like that will look after it. It means that you have three incomes in your household, and in this time when inflation is rising and things are going up and all over the place, it's certainly helpful to have that extra money around. It means that we have more operational control. Like we can chores get done a little bit easier, right? Like people balance things. There's economies of scale of having things. And when we tell our kids this, and they've grown up in a world where that's normal to them, and God bless all the parents and friends that they have around them. In general, everyone has been very supportive of our lifestyle and has been supportive of what we do. And again, it would be very hard right now. Like it's hard for me to imagine a scenario in which government, like I will be the last. Like there are so many other letters for the government to attack before it gets to me. But I could see that start. And I worry about that. I worry about what's happening out in the workforce. And as I talk to other industry executives, in general, people are thinking that they're going to weather this out. There are a lot of companies who are downplaying their diversity programs. They're downplaying their integration programs. They're not broadcasting it, but like they aren't necessarily doing away with it. And I'm okay with that. I would love them to take a stronger stand, but I understand from a corporate standpoint that they don't want to. Uh, but at the same time, I do worry that if push comes to shove, like another year of the current administration, there could be a scenario in which, yeah, again, they do go after marriage equality, and I don't know what the process would be about nullifying marriages. I can't imagine that's actually a thing, and I know it can't be a state by state thing because you can't have a situation where like one state acknowledges a marriage and another does not. Um, yeah, but it makes me nervous. It makes me nervous, especially because this was based around medical care, and you could see a scenario under which like medical care is denied to certain individuals. Um, and that's scary. That's scary. I think we saw it with the abortion ruling from the first administration, and now we're kind of seeing it again. And I I think this erosion is bad, and I think it's nervous. So, with that in mind, going back to Pi started with Rin. Rin was very positive on the idea that we should be an inclusive space, that we should strive to be a safe space, and we haven't always achieved that. The platform that we are migrating from, Better Mode, had some issues around information leakage that we couldn't control. We moved to Disco in the hopes that we can clamp down on some of that. Um, that wasn't the only reason. There were a number of reasons to migrate to Disco, but that was certainly one of the considerations that came into it. Um, and part of that has been around this idea that we did want to like move towards a safe space. And one of the things that we want, of course, inside of our community are actual special interest groups. Like obviously, all of us have this thing around procurement that we're all attached to, like this thing around buying and selling that's important to us, that we care about, and everything like that. And I apologize. This is sort of a talking head episode. I'm sorry. Um, but anyways, we have this thing around buying and selling. But we also know that there are individuals within our organization, specialized or within our industry, right? Individuals that do come from diverse backgrounds, individuals that do have interesting strengths and everything else that's going on. And for those, we wanted to create special interest groups. And the first one that we tried was called the Neurodivergent Group. And so that was in our Better Mode area. It was self-managed by y'all. I didn't even have access to it. Like I deliberately locked myself out. As an admin, I could force my way in if I really needed to, but it didn't come up on my feed. Like I wouldn't see the comments that were made inside that area. And that was a good start. But we wanted something. It didn't like, because it didn't really have a brainchild or trust or anything like that. It didn't really go anywhere. So I want to say that we are working towards that, and we've been working in the background with our Baker's Dozen on this idea of creating a special interest group specifically for LGBTQIA plus individuals. So this would be a self-registering group. You would be able to see the community from the outside. You would be able to access the community until you had registered yourself into it. And so we're just in the process of like setting up that registration and working out the admin bugs of like who gets to like who is the moderator that allows people in, right? Like we don't necessarily want to gatekeep, but we also want to keep the individuals inside safe, or at least concealed if they so desire, right? And we want y'all to have the ability to like run your own events and everything like that inside that. That's all a little bit hazy, but I do want to announce that we are working on it. So if you go to the Pi community right now, we do have this rules for special interest groups up. It's a post inside the community. You could see like we have really created some broad rules right now, with the understanding that you yourselves, once you have kind of started, that you will come up with your own methodology of monitoring and managing your own group. Um, and so with that in mind, we created the Pi Rainbow. I actually thought it was supposed to be the Rainbow Pi. I'll double check that with the team and everything like that. And again, I bulk a little bit at saying that this is a safe space, but this area will be up and running for the individuals who are interested in like just having a space to chat, a space to talk, and a space to work in and communicate with others of similar ilk or similar interests. You can even from here direct us to like, hey, I want more specific programming inside the conference or inside the community or inside our webinar or speakers and stuff like that that come from these diverse backgrounds. But yeah, this is it. This is the special interest group for the Pi team. So yeah, anyways, we should have registration up and ready to go in a little bit. We are going to have that kind of up and running as quickly as we possibly can. All right. So yeah, I wanted to say that that in this time we hear you, we see you, and if we can, we want to stand with you. So if there's something that you're aware of that you want us to get involved in, we have we have a fairly diverse membership. I'm sure there are a lot of people that are willing to get the word out as necessary. But there you have it. All right, that was my opening. For Pi stuff, this is the last week for early bird tickets. If you were a Pi member, obviously a Pi paid member, you get your conference for free. RF tickets will be available. Um, uh, right up until, of course, conference time and everything like that. And even after that, you can buy conference tickets to get access to the recordings. We have an amazing group of speakers. I've been signing contracts all this week. We have well over 35 speakers that we'll be presenting to you. Some really, really great topics. Obviously, AI is in there, but some interesting stuff on burnout, some interesting stuff on process management, some tips and tricks for like how to keep yourself skilled during this interesting time when like things are changing so quickly and everything like that. Just really a lot of fun. We have some fun games that we've been working on and everything like that. So yeah, again, if you aren't planning on being a Pi member, this is the last chance to get a cheap ticket. Friday is the last day to get the cheap tickets. After that, they go up in price. They're still an amazing deal though. Like it's like a third of the price of almost any of the other industry conferences out there. So some real benefit. But yeah, if you want, there'll be an option as well to roll your ticket up into a Pi paid membership as well. So there's lots of ways for you to get involved in it. But yeah, and I'm hoping that over the next couple of weeks, I will actually have the some of the speakers coming in just to pre-present some of the stuff that they're going to be talking about, getting you excited about what's going on out there. Or sorry, what they're going to be presenting inside the conference, get you a little bit interested about whether you want to add them to your specific area inside of Ring Central. So yeah, we're going to have that up and running very shortly. Now, with that in mind, like I said, this will probably be a shorter session today. I really just wanted to highlight that. I know it's Juneteenth, and it would have been really, really good to kind of recognize that. And I am definitely not the person to tell you about Juneteenth. The only thing I can say, honestly, though, is if you do listen to podcasts, there is a fantastic one right now from 99% Invisible, just talking about the tricolor flag. And its importance in Black culture, and why it's important that you have unified, like a unified identity. So even though they're like, you can't say Black and like have that be a universal moniker. Like, there are so many different interests within that. There is the entire spectrum of individuals within that banner. But the idea that like governments and the population in general do not listen if it is one individual talking. They only listen to strength and to unity. And 99% Invisible does a great example of like how something as simple as a flag can really help drive political change. And so, yeah, it gave me heart in this moment. But again, I'm not the person to talk about Juneteenth. But I will talk. I am knee deep right now in a RFP tool analysis program. And I think that I have like, obviously we have our legacy tools are fantastic. The responsive, the Ombud, the Lupios, yeah, they're just some fantastic legacy tools, and they've really thought through the project management. And we've been testing a lot of RFP AI tools. And the interesting part from my perspective is that the responses are actually getting better. Like if I've always looked at the response tools as a project management tool combined with a response repository and a content management system, right? And what I'm noticing on these AI tools is that content management / response section is getting so powerful. Like the stuff that it can do is pretty amazing. What I'm noticing though is the actual like project process is kind of falling behind. And I, again, going back to Christina Carter's comment that she put online, indicating that maybe we need to rethink our process. I'm trying to think about like, is this an actual rethinking of the process? Like maybe we just need to respond, or is there like still a failure here? Like, are we missing something in procurement? Anyways, I mentioned that because it leads into my next thing, which is these tools have difficulty with complex bids. And I had a doozy come to me. This was 2,300 questions. And they gave me a month to respond to it, which was fantastic. And I was like, this is great. No problem. We got this. I did my kickoff call with my SMEs and I said to them, hey, like you just need to don't think of it as like something that you can just skate by. Like 2,300 questions is a monster. um, it will sneak up on you. It will be painful to you. And ultimately, you just kind of need to like log in every day and like answer 10 questions. Like just set yourself a goal of answering 10 questions and you will get through it, right? Like, five SMEs assigned, like you will push through it. Like by the end of the first week, you'll have 70 questions answered kind of thing, right? Or 50. I mean, who works on weekends except for us? Anyways, so I meet with them on the second cadence call, and in the very first week, we're already at like 50%. So like people have clearly gone in and answered a lot. But then it's Parkinson's law, and like the work expands to fill the time. And more people kind of started to drop off the radar. And I started like sending out like notices like, hey, just a heads up, it's coming up. It's coming up. And then there were some conferences and stuff like that that people had to go to. And here we are, we're arriving at the date and like stuff is undone. And suddenly like people are rushing or they're asking their assignments to be given to someone else who has the time to respond to it and stuff like that. And I'm like, oh my goodness, tales from the pitch. This is the moment. Um, anyways, and so it doesn't come clean. And the good news is the individuals who are releasing the bid, they I had set it so that I had like some extra time to work on it by myself, but work on it over the weekend, which is great. Um, anyways, and so I'm working on this thing, and I'm using one of the legacy tools, and I didn't do the upload. I didn't manage the upload and stuff like that. Someone else did, and super thankful for them because that was a monster to upload and everything like that. It was a complex bid to respond to. But I didn't do the export until kind of the last day because of like everyone kind of creeping out. I let the deadline extend a little bit. I made the decision. I was like, hey, I'm going to give everyone an extra 48 hours to kind of answer and stuff like that. But that gave me less time to like do a proper like edit and review and stuff like that. And so I didn't actually do the download from the tool until the day before the weekend started. Um, and when I downloaded it, I realized like an entire column of information was missing, i.e., all of the thought that the individual, so they had answered like yes, no, and done all the drop downs and everything like that. But the actual thought that they had put into it, like the qualifiers and the caveats and everything like that, were not being exported. And so suddenly I was in this situation where it's like, oh my goodness, I need to figure out how to get this information manually out of the system and into this file. And so just a little bit of a nightmare. But anyways, there you go. That is my comment. The good news is the tool did have some suggestions for it. I did work with like ChatGPT and some other stuff to kind of like make a code that would allow it to switch over. It still had some errors. There were still some manual processes, but it was just a reminder to myself that, hey, Parkinson's law is a thing. And on these massive bids, you have to be prepared for that. Anyways, it is 11:23 my time, 2:23 for some of y'all out there on the East Coast. It's an interesting world out there. There are wars, there are challenges, there are attacks, not just against us, or sorry, not just against enemies external, but also against individuals inside your life and around you. So I would I would say if you have a chance this weekend, take a moment for yourselves. I know I certainly will be. I have a lot of work to do, but at the same time, I recognize that like this is a moment to reconnect with people, uh, to realize why we're doing the things that we do. Because it's an interesting world out there. Anyways, watch for the announcement about the Rainbow Pi. We'll be getting that up for those individuals as quickly as possible. Be safe out there. Hope your bids are in good shape. Y'all take care. Happy Thursday.